Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Gina. I am a part-time reseller on eBay and most recently, Poshmark as well, just because I sell a little bit of everything, but I sell a lot of clothing and I thought Poshmark might be a good fit. Anyway, I just got off of work. It's been a long day, but I really wanted to get this out. This video will be about a what sold video. My other videos, my longer content videos, have been more about what I picked up and what I paid for them and that type of thing. This is actually a what sold video. I use Flipwise as my my platform, my program for my bookkeeping. So it's like everything in and everything out. And it's been very nice, very easy to use, very user friendly, and so I stick with it. But more recently, I've been told by some other folks that are resellers that they really like Nifty. Now, Nifty is a cross listing platform. And so I don't know if any of the features are the same as Flipwise. I'm still learning. I would love some advice on some of these things because it is very overwhelming. They're designed to help us to be, easier for us. But keep in mind that recently I sold something on eBay, and tonight, as a matter of fact, I looked down at my Poshmark app, and somebody was commenting on that same item. So just keep that in mind. I'll share that for the end. I'll talk about that at the end. But let's get right into it. These are things that sold from May 19th through the 25th. That's why another reason I wanted to get this out, because time is flying by as usual. So on the 19th, let's see where we are here. On the 19th, I sold this Rawlings 13-inch Select Series Deep Well Basket Web baseball / softball glove. I bought it at a church sale, and it was $1. I paid $1 for it, and I sold it for $24.66. So as far as like all the fees that came out and ROI and things like that I'm still learning a lot about that. So after fees, there's a net profit. Of course, I didn't make $24.66. I just sold the glove for $24.66, but I don't think that's too bad considering the fact I paid $1 for it at this sale. So always look for these gloves. Like I said, it's a perfect time of year. The larger gloves sell better. The adult sizes are way better than the kids sizes. And you'll find them everywhere. Look, when you're in the thrift shop, you look underneath where like sports things are, golf clubs and those other things, and you'll find them in there. They're pretty quick to resell. Also, that glove sold in 2 days. All right, so that's important also to mention in this. That's what I'll do, is I'll tell you what I purchased the item for, what I sold it for, and then how long it took to sell. Again, Flipwise gives me a different figuration, whatever you want to call it, formula than eBay does. And so I'm learning the differences between the two. Obviously, with eBay, there are advertising fees and promotions and promoted listings, which if anybody knows anything about eBay, they know that that's a thing lately where, some promote, some don't, some promote lower, some higher. And so that will be something that I continue to work on. So that's the glove. The second item I sold on the, by the way, I sold nothing on the 20th on either platform. Nothing sold on the 20th. I was really slow, I guess, with pictures at that time. I don't know. May 21st, I sold this Nike pullover hoodie, tie-dye French terry cloth men's size 2XL. Now, this item was given to me by my son, and so I'm going to owe him a couple of bucks, but I sold the sweatshirt for $31.67, and that sold it took about 3.5 weeks for that one to sell. So that one did pretty well as well. The next item is a Vera Bradley, also on the 21st, a Vera Bradley Very Berry vinyl coated insulated cooler bag purse. Vera Bradley still does pretty well for me. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Vera Bradley, I don't pick that up anymore. That doesn't sell for me." Certain things do. If the colors are vivid, obviously, if it's a retired piece, you can't find them anymore. And it depends on what I say this all the time in these videos. It matters. It's like 99% of this whole journey is what you pay for that item initially, right? So if you pay $8 for something and you're going to sell it for $12, don't bother because you're not going to make any money. So the Vera Bradley insulated cooler bag sold for $18.57, and it took 4 months to sell. That one I bought at my favorite thrift store that I talk about a lot. Yeah, American Family Thrift. Next item, let's see, May 22nd, this one sold. The Pampered Chef New Traditions Family Heritage 9x9 stoneware baking dish, I guess. Just the square baking dish that you'll see here. I found this. Where did I find this one? I think this one was also at the thrift shop, American Family Thrift. I picked this one up for $3, and it sold for $29.07. And you know, guys, listen, the reason why these numbers are weird, like why it's $29.07 and not $29 or $30, is because of, you know, coupons I offer. You know, the buyer offers me a price, and things are moved. Numbers constantly move in this business. You want them to kind of stay up, but sometimes they come down, especially if you've had an item hanging out for a while and you kind of just want to get rid of it. But Pampered Chef also is one of those things, depending on what it is, that still does pretty well for me, especially the cookware. I've noticed that anything that goes in your kitchen, right? Anything you put food in or liquid, anything that goes on the counter does pretty well because it's practical. And so, especially during these times where times are tough, and you know, money doesn't come, you know, easily for people. It's I think what I'm seeing, the trend anyway, if that's what you want to call it, are things that people are buying things that they can use that are practical. So that one I picked up for $3. It sold for $29.07, and that sold in 22 days. The next one was also May 22nd, was this Hello Kitty ceramic cookie jar with little kitten blue sky. Sanrio, I guess, is the brand name, the maker of this. Super cute. I bought this brand new. I was actually at Burlington with my son, just looking for things, you know, browsing around. And I saw this cookie jar on a clearance shelf, like a table clearance. So I picked it up for $4.99, and I sold it for $41.67. So the profit on that one was pretty good. And I sold that one that one took 7 months to sell. And it was brand new with tags and stuff. So again, if you look at your inventory and you're thinking about reducing the price, offering coupons, accepting low offers on things, consider everything. Consider what you think it's worth. You know, it's brand new, it's in mint condition, there's no chips, it's cute, really cute. So I stuck with it. I didn't go any lower than the original price, which, you know, was $44 or $42. $41.67 was what I sold it for. I didn't get lower than that. That's 7 months. Next one. Also May 22nd. May 22nd was a good day for me for some reason. Was an American Eagle button-up shirt, men's shirt, double XL, green and blue plaid, long sleeve. That one took 8 months. It says 8 months to sell. It could be. I thought it was less than that, but it looks like it took 8 months to sell. I picked it up at the thrift shop for $5.40, and I only sold it for $15.15. So I made like $1.25 after fees and stuff like that, after advertising. I just set the price really low. I think I just wanted to get rid of it, to be honest. All right, this next piece is an unusual piece I've never seen before because it's vintage. Don't forget about your vintage, folks. I know, like, if you are clothing resellers, that's different. But if you're mixing it up and you're trying different things, try those vintage pieces because they still carry a lot of value. They still mean a lot of. Um, they're meaningful to a lot of people. They're collectors keep them, and they're even new to just a brand new market, a brand new population of people who just think they're cool. And you can put, whatever you want to do. There's a turntable with this piece at the top. You could put, ketchup, mustard, and mayo in it. Turn it with spoons and stuff. It's really cute. That one I bought for $3.99 and sold for $26.72. It did, however, take 7 months to sell. But that's also very common with vintage pieces, is they take a longer time to sell. That's just what my experience has been. All right. Whew. The next one, May 24th. I guess I sold nothing on the 23rd. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't be saying this because I did have some sales on Poshmark, which I didn't even really, I don't even know if I got to that. I sold a couple of things on Poshmark. I might include that in like a second video. I don't know. Oops. So anyway, Tupperware. This is a Tupperware mix and store 8-cup measuring pitcher bowl with lid, blue, it says. Picked it up for $1 and sold it for $18.51. Tupperware is another thing that people still collect. I mean, you could say, well, why don't you just go to the dollar store and pick up a measuring cup, a Rubbermaid or something. But it's that Tupperware name that means a lot to people. Those who have been collecting for years, and again, brand new folks that are new to it and just think they're cool. That one took only 7 days to sell. So that one did pretty well. Let's see. Some of them did really lousy. So here's a really good example of what not to do when you're reselling. This beautiful Calvin Klein black and white curve accentuating. I don't know what I did there. It's a mess. Trim, size 6, classic style. I paid up for that. I paid $15.99 6 months ago. I would not have done that again, but I just love Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein is one of those, for me anyway, it's just classic. It almost always sells, depending on the condition. It always sells, and it just presents nicely. It always has a nice fabric. It's just, I don't know, I just love it. So I always pick it up, and I'm sort of a sucker for it. So that's why I paid $15.99 for it, and I only sold it for $22.33 on an offer. So I made like no money on that one. I had very little profit, like $1 or $2. That was it. It took 6 months to sell. The next item, May 25th, this was. And this was a Simon says. Button front blazer jacket, pink, size large, satin floral. New with tags. Now this was a QVC piece. This jacket came from QVC. And if you guys know a lot about or anything about QVC, you'll know that there's a whole generation of people out there, women in particular, who just bought everything on QVC. The models would come out and spin around in these clothes, and people bought them. So I also paid up for this, but the reason I did was because, first of all, it's pretty cool. The fabric's good. It's heavy. It's in perfect condition, and it's new with the tags, which, you could say new with tags, or you could say excellent used. It's hard to say because we know that this is an old piece. This is probably from the late 80s, early 90s. It's probably vintage, but nobody ever wore it. So you can consider that to be new, or you can just consider that to be old with tags on it. Regardless, I also paid up for this. I paid $16 for it, and I sold it for $38.52. So not a great profit either, but just a really cool jacket. I really liked it, and it took 2 months to sell. Okay, so where am I? in this. Also, May 25th, another baseball glove. You guys, Easton Black Magic Series baseball glove, 12.5 inch, right-handed throw. That's really important too when you're selling these gloves. Is not what hand you put it on, right? But where you throw that ball from. So, it's going on the left hand. It is a right-handed throw glove. Important to mention because people do make that mistake. They put it on the left hand and they call it left-handed glove. It's not really how that works. Right-handed throw. Also $1 at the church sale, which, by the way, church sales, if you can find them, in my opinion, are the best, especially if it's more of a charity, for, raising money for the church, that type of thing. They sell food and everything there. That was $1, and I was able to sell that one for $36.43, and it sold in 8 days. Woo! So, and I went on to do more. Oh wait, May 25th. There's another one. Didn't know this one. Wasn't prepared for this one. This is a Rival 3-quart crock pot slow cooker. Now, like I said earlier, if you can put it on your counter, if it can hold food or water or ice or whatever, it'll sell. The older crock pots, especially these sort of mid-sized 3-quart, they come in like 6-quart, the big ones. But the 3-quart ones, if they're in good condition, which this one was in very good condition, they sell. And I just test them. I always test the things that are that you can use, to make sure it works. This one I also feel like I paid up for. Where did I get this one? I think this one came from. Oh, this one came from my local Goodwill. This one I paid $9.99 for because, as we all know, the Goodwill is on to us. I don't know who their customers are really, because $9.99 is a lot of money for a lot of people. But I paid up for it. However, I was able to get $54.93 for this one because it was in mint condition, super, super great condition. I believe it's retired. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's a retired piece. And that only took 2 months to sell. So now that is my only, that's my last one to include the 25th of May. But then I also had some Poshmark sales, probably 3 or 4 in that time frame. So I think it's been beneficial that I've cross-listed. I wasn't sure at first if it would be, but now here's what I want to talk about. So other YouTubers, resellers, they're like, that you hear them, you have to use Nifty. There's different cross-listing platforms, and Nifty seems to be one that people like. I've tried some of the others. They weren't very user-friendly. Like I said, I'm not tech savvy at all, so I really have to struggle through these things. But Nifty was fairly straightforward, okay? However, here's what happened. So back when I was first talking about what sold, back on, oops, when did it sell? Anyway, when I was talking about the hoodie, the Nike pullover hoodie tie-dye sweatshirt that sold on eBay, it sold on the, what did I just say? Sorry, I just got out of my program. I just kicked myself out. I sold it on the 21st or 22nd. Packaged it up with everything else, took it to the post office. Everything was good to go. And tonight at work, I was leaving work, and then I looked down and I saw a thing from Poshmark that said, so-and-so likes this item. Because unlike eBay, Poshmark, they can do that. It felt more to me like Facebook at first. It was like, so-and-so likes your item. And because eBay doesn't do that, eBay doesn't care at all if people like your things. Really, not really. I mean, not to me. They only care if you sell something, pretty much. or if somebody's returning something or whatever. They don't care if someone likes it. So it said so-and-so likes your item, and it was the sweatshirt. And I was like, oh no, like I thought I was using Nifty. And I thought Nifty would find that item and delist it right away for me, but it doesn't look like that's happened. So I'm going to look into that further. If anybody has advice or knows of a good video I can watch to reference that so I know what to do in the future, please leave it in comments, because I don't want to miss something. I've been a reseller now for 10 months, and knock on wood, I haven't had a problem yet with that, like not finding something, or, let's say that hoodie had sold to that second person, that Poshmark customer. And I would have had to have said to them, sorry, it's gone. It sold 3 days ago on eBay. So I have to look back into Nifty to see if I'm missing something, or maybe there was like a 7-day free trial. Maybe I didn't sign up for it yet. And I'll be honest with you, it's a little pricey. To me, it's a little pricey. I know it does a lot of amazing things, but I think it might be like $40 a month, which all the subscriptions add up. As you guys know, they add up. So I was really careful, but it's possible that it sold after that 7 days was up, and I no longer had that free 7-day trial. So I'm going to look back into that. But in the meantime, I went into Poshmark and I delisted it so that no one can find it again. So that's what I wanted to talk about at the end. I hope I made some sense. I'm really, like I said, I'm brand new at this, but I feel like I'm making some progress, and I'm learning along the way. Mostly that it matters hugely how much you pay for that item initially. It really does. There's just no point in picking something up for more than, $5, $6, $7, $8, depending on what. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. You find like a Wii Sports game, and you're going to get $60 for it. Well, then, pay $8 if you want to at a yard sale. That's fine. But know exactly. Use your app. I do that a lot. I go into eBay. I use Google Lens. I go into eBay to look to see how many are listed. They're listed over like a 90-day period. How many are listed, and then how many have sold. I don't even bother to look at how many are listed. I really do look more at how many were sold in the last 90 days. And if it's worth it, and you're going to get, you're going to flip it for a decent profit, then go that route. But otherwise, don't, stay away from that. So I hope this made some sense. If anybody has any advice about Nifty, also, I love Flipwise. I love it. I use it every day. I check in with it, but it doesn't provide cross-listing services. So it's strictly eBay. Flipwise is strictly for eBay. And again, I sell mostly on eBay, exclusively for the most part. And so it's been a huge help. It was great at tax time, the whole 9 yards. But make sure that whatever you're purchasing in terms of your subscriptions, that it's not overkill, that one doesn't provide the same service that another one might, and so on. Okay? So I hope this helped. And if anybody has any advice, please leave them down in comments. And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.